Alright, Knut, this is the part two. I don't normally like to chop them up in parts, but I had that weird issue where it was telling me to delete stuff on my computer to free up space. So hopefully that shouldn't be an issue now. And I believe the last video just sort of cuts off with me talking about testimonials. And so that's just where I'm going to jump in. We've just gone over basically how you should order your testimonials. And I basically... And then I commented that I think you guys are making a common mistake that I see a lot of marketers do. Basically, anyone who doesn't do copywriting for practically living, doesn't take on clients, generally makes this same mistake. And that is getting testimonials. People do it way wrong all the time, basically always. What people usually do is, after someone goes through a seminar, or they go through the product or a coaching thing, they'll be like, "So, can you give me a review? Just write down or send me an email what you thought." And then they get a response going, "Oh man, it was awesome! So cool!" And it was great. You got that here. I'm gonna try to combine it with the tips. I'm so excited. Or thank you so much, it was so much fun, this is it's good to have these things, but this, it's just not, okay, so here's how you want to do testimonials. First of all, never leave, okay, look at this, look at this testimonial. Norway rocks. Many thanks, Morten, for such a great event, and thank you to everyone for such a great energy. It's that's not gonna make someone pay 200 some odd dollars and get on a train or a plane and fly out to this place, book hotels, etc. Okay, that's... And this is the problem that happens when you let people write their own testimonials and just send them to you. That is not the way you want to do it. The way you want to do it is interview them. And obviously you can't track down all these people. You can't interview all these people just because you probably don't have the time. But what you can do is take some of your closer students who are at the event and sort of go give them a quick interview process. Now you'll see this in some of the, I want to say, if I remember correctly, some of the old Action Seminar testimonials, and you'll see this in a lot of long-form copy written by copywriters for their own services. It's also very common. But you essentially want to interview them and have certain questions prepared. And as they're speaking to you, you want to be writing down or taking note of what you say. And then you want to take what they say and sort of write out a testimonial using their own words. And then say, give it back to them and say, "So would you say that, this is a fair representation, or this is can you sign off on this as a testimonial?" And those questions are just to keep the testimonial on track and useful. Because when a regular person gives a testimonial, they don't really understand exactly how and why you need the testimonial the way you do. And so they'll just say, "Oh, it was great, so much fun, great energy, what a blast." But what you want to do is walk them through a 3-step process. And essentially, you want each testimonial to be its own little mini sales letter, in a way. And what I mean by that is you want each testimonial to go through the hero's journey. Now, I don't know if you learned about the hero's journey. They make everyone in America learn it in schools, and you probably learned it. It may be just called something else. I don't know. So I'm going to delete this picture, and I'm going to show you the hero's journey, which is essentially, you got problem. So I'm going to put a P for problem, and then you have the struggle, and then you have the solution. I'm going to put SOL for solution, and then you have glorious victory. It's pretty much problem, solution, victory. So you would, in your interview, you might ask someone, "So what are some of the problems you had that you were facing in your life?" And they may go, "Oh, well, I found that when I was, when I'd be talking to a girl and be in really deep conversation, it would be this really authentic, incredible experience, but I had a hard time sort of getting them into that zone. Like I had a hard time getting women to open up, and also opening up the conversation. But from what then you go, like that's the problem. Like they had trouble opening up women, and then so this causes all the problems. This basically, they live in the problem zone when they have that problem, and then they find a solution. The solution is your product, or maybe something that they heard at the seminar. But they'll go, but then I heard so and so talk, and it just totally blew my mind. And now I've started to implement what I've learned, and now I don't have a problem with that. Now you would have them go and describe the glorious victory. Another way to describe this is, and this is an exercise I walk all my clients through, which is the magic magic solution box, which is pretend your product or service is like a metal detector like box that they have to walk through. On one end, they have a bunch of problems that is their current state. When it's like, it can be anything. It's like they're overweight, they have problems with women, or maybe their sales page isn't converting how they like. And then they walk through the box, the metal detector like box, and then like magic, they get their absolute best result. What is that result? And like, what is the glorious victory that then ensues after? Like after they walk through the box, how is their life different now than they've walked through it? Like sort of like a before and after. So you basically want your testimonials to capture what their life was like and the problems they faced. And these are problems that people reading the material, they're going to relate to. What the solution was, and the solution is always like, your product or service, or, what someone learned at, from someone on stage, or whatever the breakthrough was. And then the victory is basically them describing their life or their grand result now that they have found the solution. And that's basically, you want to keep that, like that's the track you want the conversation to be on. Like you want to try and keep hitting those points and get them to talk about these three things specifically. Because otherwise they'll just talk about like any millions of random things that just happens to pop in their mind that, isn't that useful to you. And so you just want to keep this in mind when you're grabbing testimonials. Another thing you can do with testimonials, and I mentioned it earlier by saying take the photo of the women and even some of the women testimonials and putting them in a frequently asked questions, about women, like should women attend. You can basically, knowing what I just shared with you, testimonials, you can then start to make testimonials for different parts of your sales letter. For example, let's say, here's one that copywriters use all the time on their own sales pages for their services. Let's say I'm a copywriter and I charge, $5,000 a sales letter. Pretty standard, straightforward, typical, rate. Now, if I'm dealing with someone who's, new to just new to this, they're new to the game and they've never hired a copywriter before, and maybe they just don't even understand the value of copy. They're gonna see that, and now if they're new to the game, they're gonna see that price tag and go, "Oh, geez, that's pretty steep." Even though it's like in reality, it's totally not. But that's gonna be something nervous. Or let's say I don't charge $5,000. Let's say I charge $30,000. They're gonna see that price tag and go, "Oh man, that's pretty expensive." And I know that that's an objection that they're gonna have at that part in the copy. I can basically, using that formula I just showed you, have a testimonial tailored for each objection. So I can say, after I hit them with the price point of, $3,000 or whatever, or $30,000, I can then have a testimonial that says, when I first saw Andy's fees, I was so nervous because they seemed really steep. But man, once we started working together, I'm so glad I forked over the money. Like, first of all, working with him was totally awesome. Second of all, my promotion pulled in, gazillions of dollars. And the $30,000 is nothing compared to what he made me. Boom, end testimonial. See how you've basically taken a problem and, the sort of the struggle that comes with that problem, and you've basically you've used it in a very specific part of the copy to overcome a very specific objection. You can do that basically all throughout your copy anytime an objection would be hit, or anytime you want to really ramp up a point. One thing I think you should do. Yeah, first of all, what is it? There's a line you need to delete immediately, and that is this one. This is just too much pain, too much insulting. And the one I'm highlighting, just in case it doesn't show up on the video, is it worth more than wasting time living in the pity of your excuses when opportunities are on sale? Like, this is too brutal, man. This is just, someone who's feel like the people who this line applies to beat themselves up enough, and they don't need you beating them up too. And the people who are basically in this mindset of like living in the pity of their excuses, they don't need someone to hit them. They need someone to encourage them, like saying like, "This is it, man. This is where it finally changes." So I would get rid of this line completely. Now, this is all good stuff, like the rest of the copy here. However, I think you're not really giving it the space and I guess the place it deserves by just putting it in the frequently asked questions. I really think you should have one section of copy devoted where you really, and this like I think right after you could start it here and then end it around here, which is you need a part of the copy where you're really like asking, like drilling for the sale, like you're really trying to get that order. You could open it up here, like when you order, your ticket now for Morten, here's what you get. And then you could go into all of these and basically hit all the benefits for what come with these and all the details, which, we went over in part 1. And then you could do price justification, which is essentially what you're doing down there when you're saying, like, when you're getting them to justify the price of, like, $247 is nothing for what you're getting. Like, you go on and on and on and on about how worth it is. And you're right. Like, I think $247 is a steal for this conference. You can put that right before you, like, right here, like, while you're still asking for the sale. And then from there, you can have the money back satisfaction guarantee. And then after that, you can have a whole section of copy devoted to the fact that all the proceeds, in fact, I might actually even have the proceeds, like the foundation, I might have that actually before the guarantee. And then you would then want to advertise the fast action special right there in the copy, right there in the order, saying, you could have a little ticker right here saying the prices are going to go up $100 starting on this day. You can actually just you can take just this bit of copy and just like plaster it, right around here. I wouldn't link to the foundation though, just because you typically don't want to link off of your page, just as a general rule. Now, and earlier I said when you should take that out of the button. I'm kind of starting to rethink that. I think you can have it there, but don't have that be the only thing. You want... wait, one second. You could actually take the back, by the way. You can actually take the fast action bonus and just also hit it on here. Like, say, like... the way they did it in the Warrior one was like, act fast and save. Claim your seat at the Warrior. Now, get a discount for pre-registration, $100 when you register today. Price goes up to, then whatever it is, and then give the date that it goes up. Then, when you want it one part, like especially when you're asking for the order, you really want one part of the copy to really give them very specific details on what to do next. A lot of people, and I sent you on Facebook the edition of the Born Letters, issue 16, which is where he very specifically tells them what to do every single step of the way. And now his was for direct mail, so it was like, grab the envelope, check the box, like put it in the envelope, put the envelope on, like put the stamp on the envelope, walk it out to your mailbox, put it in, raise it, like every single step. He told them to do it, and he told them to do it now. The same logic, and you'll see this a lot. Like I sent you also all the ads that Gary Halbert says you should copy by hand. If you look at a lot of those ads, and also if you look at any of the old school swipes, especially in space ads, and you see the coupon cutout, and you still see this idea translates online, but in those little cutouts, it'll basically tell them what to do every single step of the way. Like, fill this out, do this, do this, do this. You want to do the same thing with your order form. Like, you want to say, click the button, select which option. I'm just going to wait for it to load. This is a pretty... Alright, there it goes. Like, click the button, select your option. Choose how many you want. Click the Order Now button. Put in... then you're going to, what happens after that? Fill in your name, email it, fill in your information. Blah, blah, blah. Tell them, and make sure you do this now, because the price goes, you want to be telling them what to do every single step of the way. This also has, a kind of a hidden benefit, which is when you tell them what to do, specifically, and when you tell them exactly what's going to happen next, it creates trust. And then that trust will sort of retroactive, if they go back to the sales page, they'll know, there'll be more trust there, because you've basically, when you walk them through a process where you say, when you do this, when you do X, Y will happen, and then when you follow these steps, X, Y, and Z will happen. And when basically everything happens the exact way you said it would, it just, proves that you're not a liar. This is just something that is maybe less applicable to this specific sales page, although I do think you should do it, but really, really important for when someone opts into something, you tell them exactly how everything's going to happen. Just basically instant trust that way. Also, there are a couple little things which I think aren't a huge deal, but I'm not going to go through every little tiny thing, but there are just a couple instances where you can tell that basically strange phrases, phrasing, or just some tenses are wrong. I'm not even sure if I'll hold on. I'm gonna pause the video, find an example, so that way this just makes immediate sense. At the bottom of how much are the tickets, right here we see secure your seat at the Morten Hake Summit. Order button right there, man. Oh man, this is pretty good pacing, and I would just have an order button right there just for them to click while the iron's hot. But earlier, like I was saying, just I guess awkward phrases. Energy and money on things that doesn't enrich the quality of the I would imagine most people don't would be more natural there, and just tiny little things like that. But I think honestly, I would just have someone who just give it to a friend who's a native English speaker. Just give it a once over, and maybe clean a little bit of that up. I think that just about wraps it up. I'm going to pause the video and then think a bit on if there's anything I've forgotten that I wanted to touch on. And then I'm going to come back, and then I'll either say the video's done and enjoy your critique, or I'll start explaining more things. Two things, and this is something I just spotted. I went to the bottom of your page, because earlier I said that I told you about the PS and how they're used, and I basically wanted to see if there was a cool way that the Warrior event did it. They just have this really awesome piece of copy at the very bottom of their page. And it's actually, like a testimonial-ish. It's just one of the speakers talking about the event. And it's just more like the benefits are hit again. It's just right, and so when people scroll down to the bottom, they basically get the sales page in a nutshell. So you make sure they read it. But then they do something really awesome when you click the button, which I think you could benefit from a lot. They actually go, and there's a little Johnson box here where they basically completely reassure everything, like more reasons on why you should, because like people leak at the cart, people hit the button and then they don't actually end up buying. I would test something like this, and I remember they did this for the second action seminar. They did a test where they, during the loading screen, they had an in-between screen, which was similar to this, that basically reassured them that their decision was the right one. And so there are a few things for you that I would test. I would test the text on the order buttons here. I would test having a page like this, where you reassure them that everything's going to be awesome and that they're making a great investment. And then you also, that's another place where you can lay out the terms of the deal, like this is what you're getting. You are getting the ticket. All the proceeds, you do have a guarantee. This is how the guarantee works. All the surplus goes to this foundation. Then you can also hit them again with all the speakers there, like they charge this much typically, and you're getting X amount of value for such a small payment, and I'm gonna not actually buy this thing. And so that just about does it for this critique. The only thing maybe we can talk about is the Ultimate VIP experience. I understand, like, this is something that's probably best that they just email you, but you should have some sort of qualifier. Like, who should email you? Like, what does the VIP experience entail? Is it very intense one-on-one personal coaching? Or is it like, hey, if you get the VIP experience, there's going to be an extra day and we're all just going to go out and party and it's going to be crazy. And if you just want to have, like, a super fun time, get the VIP experience. Or even, like, you should have some sort of qualifier, like who is the VIP experience for? And then have a little tidbit in there. And you may want to put, leave the copy here, but you may want to put some of that on where you're basically closing the sale, which you should change it, after you write it in this area. You could even, if you decide to have that in-between page between them and the cart, where you reassure them, you could also talk about it there, or do like some combination of all of the above. So that's the critique. I think we're coming in. I think it's been about around an hour and 40 minutes. So I hope you've found it super valuable. A couple things I want from you now that you're here at the end. Send me a message. I want feedback. If you found this valuable, let me know. Because I want, not only, one, I like doing this. I like giving out critiques. And, anyone in the industry, I know that if you ain't getting better, you're getting worse, for the most part. And so I'm always looking at how to improve, how to make these things even more valuable. So if there are any things that you think, were especially helpful, please let me know. Just send me a message. If there's anything that's a little unclear, feel free to ask. If you have any suggestions on how to make these critiques more valuable, maybe run smoother. Yours is kind of an exception because of the crazy number of technical difficulties in the first video, so that might be a little distracting. But overall feedback really good. Also, video testimonial. Make one for me now, assuming you liked it. So if you found this valuable, love a video critique, not a critique, a video testimonial, just like you on the webcam. We'll actually get over that. We'll go through that interview process that I talked about earlier on how to get testimonials, and we'll sort of like walk through that together, and then you'll learn how to do it by creating one for me. It'll be really cool. So yeah, that'll just about do it. I'm going to upload this part to YouTube and then send it on over your way along with the notes that I printed out for myself. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it super valuable. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.